And we live. We live. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another Everybody Can't Go Convo. It is our great, big 100th episode today. So welcome in. That's why we're going early today. I know that a handful of you guys, y'all like staying up with me on the late time. I'm not gonna say the late night hour, but it be some folks' bedtime when we usually get in here for an Everybody Can't Go convo. I see my girl Mel just popped into the room. Hey Mel, what's going on?
What's going on?
Nothing much. So glad to hear from you. So glad to see you. And thanks for jumping on with us real quick while we get started on our 100th episode for today. So, what you guys can look forward to during this evening, there will be a few people that'll be popping in who will be. Who have been past guests, people who have been impacted by the pod, who will be popping in to share some wisdom, impart some knowledge. So, Mel, you are, of course, a fan favorite around here. And so you have been an integral part of the Everybody Can't Go, the book, becoming the brand. So, what does it mean to you for the book to become the brand with the work that we've done over the past few years here?
Oh man, like this is amazing to me to see the growth of the brand, and to now experience the release of the book too. Like, and seeing the brand grow before the book even showed up, like that was powerful and very telling. Like, clearly the message was needed in the marketplace. So I'm super proud of you, super excited, and honored to have been part of the journey this whole time. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And yes, speaking of talking about how the book became the brand in the first place, you mentioned that like the brand actually ended up being available to you guys and dropped and everything before the book became available, which tonight also doubles as the official virtual launch party for Everybody Can't Go. The book is finally here. It's available for you. You guys can find this you can order it at www.everybodycan'tgo the number 2.com. So I'll drop that on screen for you guys just shortly here. I'll get that on for you to be able to click so that you can access your copy. It was a long time coming. The book itself was actually, well, as an author for my portion of it, the book was actually finished quite a while ago. And then during the book writing process, we were able to start working with building the brand out itself. This is where the this is where the podcast came from. This is where the workshops have come from over the years. So this is where we have the Write the Vision journal was born out of the book. The Write the Vision workshop was born out of the book. So all of these things have come from writing the manuscripts and being pushed and pressed by one of our very much loved and esteemed coaches that the book isn't where everything was going to stop. So that's where I always tell you guys, coaches need coaches, and to make sure that you get one. So this is what it looks like, and this is what happens when you are working with the best in the business when it comes to your book coaches that you see right here on screen with you, and when you are working with your personal and professional development coaches, so that there's someone there to be able to tell you like, hey, the book isn't where this thing stops. There's a whole brand behind it. And to be able to talk more to you guys about how I'm able to put the information out in the world, put some of the wisdom out in the world. And we have joining us also on here This is cousin Guy, y'all. Another fan favorite over here at Everybody Can't Go Convos. Now, what's wild about this past guest? Guy and me have the same last name. He spells Holly right with the EY, right? But cousin Guy is actually not even related to me. We met in the UOU mastermind, same as myself and Mel. And it's like, oh, hey, y'all know each other? And I'm like, nope, but we cousins now. And here we are years later.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I date it back to slavery. That's what it is. We came over on the boat and got the last name of Holly. I found that out for real though. Like for real, for real. It's a couple of sets of Hollies, and there was a slave owner like about 50 minutes away from where I live at. Had the last name Holly, and then that's where it all came from. But congratulations! It ain't about that last name. It is about the last name. It ain't about my last name. It's about yours. Congratulations on 100 episodes. And our behavior style sometimes don't allow us for that level of consistency. So uh so congratulations to adapting and doing what the work that you're called to do. Super excited for you, sis. Cuzzo.
thank you. Thank you. So, um, now since both of you guys are in here, I'm gonna flip flop back and forth. So,
Okay.
I just wrapped up on a question a bit before with Mel. So, for you, Guy, what is one relationship, habit, mindset, or environment that you had to release in order to step into your next level? Because you know that's what we all about over here in the Everybody Can't Go camp.
That's a tough question. What's one relationship? Say that one more time for me.
Either a relationship, a habit, a mindset, or an environment that you had to release in order to step to your next level? When was one of
Okay.
those times when you realized it? Everybody can't go.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's actually right now. Like, you know, since the injury, had a brain injury, and it was like, okay, guy, you keep everything in your head, right? You have not like fully documented your processes, and so that stifles your business to actually to being able to grow. It
Mm,
all depends on you, not the system. And so since March, I've been working on um, taking the ways that I work on grants, the ways to process and how I do things, and really mapping them out. One, to deliver when I educate better, but then two, to build a system and a tool to help others, that one, to help myself when it comes to the clients I'm serving, but then two, to be able to package that up and allow others to be able to use again my brain, that has helped us to know how to get over $1 billion in grants. And so now we're putting that all inside of a system and tool to be able to help others faster with the process. And so for me, I had to give up keeping all the thoughts in my head because I didn't want to write it down. I didn't want to go through the process, the slowness of methodically jotting out how I do everything, to saying, no, this is critical because if not, everything dies when my brain dies. So, yep.
okay, that's real good. That is really good. So, you guys know when I started the journey of writing Everybody Can't Go. It stems from personal experiences that I had on my own and the lessons that I was able to extract from the life changes and some of the growth that I had experienced. And I don't know, it just seemed like people will always be like, oh yeah, just go talk to that girl over there. And then I became the Everybody Can't Go girl, which like it's like, oh, the relationships around me, things are changing. And I'm like, look, it's supposed to, because when you are being intentional and deliberate about your growth, whether that is personal, professional, within your business, within your spiritual life, any of that stuff, it is always, always, always like you're putting in the work for a reason. And so things are going to have to change. You are going to have to change. And honestly, the people around you, they will receive you differently as well. And that's not just in personal relationships. That's not just with your friendships. That's not just within your family. The people within your business who work with you and for you, the clientele that you work with, those people are going to change based upon like how you are showing up, based upon your growth, what you're bringing them, what you're doing. And as having a first for a front row seat to seeing your growth over the years, especially within business, like my non-existent hat, but my hat's off to you for that, because it's been nothing short of amazing, and also inspirational to like be in the midst and rolling with people who also are on a growth journey and are
Hmm.
dedicated to it, because
Yeah.
we know it sound good to be like, oh yeah, hey, because I'm growing, I'm changing, I'm doing the things, and it's like, okay, that's cute. We Everybody want to be the girl walking up the steps at the beginning of every year, and sometimes that growth and those changes, it doesn't come at the top of the year in January. To be
Yeah.
realistic, that thing, it comes and it pops up at any time a change is needed, anytime it's time for you to make a pivot.
Yep.
And so, Mel, I'll kick it back over to you with asking the same thing. What has been one relationship habit, mindset, or environment that you have released throughout your process of building your business, as we've been like over the years refining and building out the retreat and the writer program? Like, what has that looked like for you?
Man, what's interesting is for me, it's developed gradually, but essentially it's the getting rid of the fear of speaking up, using my voice, and the fear of bothering people. You know what I mean? I don't, it might have been learned behavior from childhood or something, but at this point, like I am 100% confident in what I'm doing and the direction I'm moving in, and the direction like you, me, and our national treasure Candace, like the stuff we're building is amazing. And thanks to Myron Golden, who all three of us follow, like this dude broke it down in such a eloquent way when he talked about desire and the fact that our desires are valid because they're from God. Like the word desire literally means from the Father. So it's like, oh, well, this is the assignment. I'm well aware of my assignment. I'm walking in it. And God has sent me incredible people to make the assignment happen. So now I can speak with all the confidence in the world. And I know it takes 11 touch points for people to even register that you're talking to them. You know what I mean? Like for people to pay attention. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna keep talking. Like, and probably louder. So yeah.
As you should and as you must, honestly, as we must, because there have definitely been times where I've had to take a step back and had to take time to reset and regain momentum and different things like that. But just knowing that our voices are needed, and that's one of the things that you talk about all the time when you encourage us to write the book, encourage us to, okay, the book is written and you've done the thing, now make sure that you actually get it out there. Go on other people's podcasts, not like, if even if you don't have your own, make sure that you're going places saying, hey, this is the thing, I've done the thing, check out the information that's here, here are some other supplements, there are other workshop opportunities, opportunities to get in the room with us live and do different things. And without mm, I would say without using your voice, because that really hit for me. You would think for me being a flight attendant, a pilot, like that I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes, all the time. But I mean, I kind of was on the same type of time with me thinking, well, I'm just going to write the book. And then I have two other ones that I'm just going to write. And then I'll go on Oprah. Hey, Oprah girl. Hey, your girl alone. I'll send you your copy. But Like I'm like, yeah, I'll just go do some interviews and I'll talk when requested. And that was my plan. That was my idea. I was just gonna leave it as is. And so that in itself, I feel like is a really powerful message to so many people because that message, that specifically is literally why we're here right now today on my pod, because the podcast, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't the idea. It wasn't the starter. It wasn't the brand. This is where all of what you guys see every week, this is where it started. It was with the book. And that was part of the delay of the book actually coming out, was because um I was encouraged to make sure that all of these other pieces were set in place. That I didn't just say, oh, hey, you guys, you can grab a copy of the book and then you're waiting to hear from me again or waiting to see me again. And someone let me know, like, hey, this book, this is some heavy stuff. These are some heavy lessons in here. What if people need to hear from you in the interim? What if people need to hear from you later? And I'm like, well, I'm I'll have something on my website where they can contact me for booking. And it's like to a certain degree so that I can serve you guys better. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. The podcast had to be a thing. And so that I was more available and more readily available. And so that you could access me on your own time, if and when you need it and if and when you want it, so that you could so that you would be able to refer back to some of the things, some of the lessons and stuff that we've talked about over the past 3 years on the pod. And I mean, I tell you guys all the time, even if the episode is not applicable to you at the time, congratulations and good, because you're either past it or you are not in the midst of it any longer. But please believe all of the stuff that we talk about over here, if you are committed to success, if you are committed to growth, if you are committed to making sure that the vision that God has given you for your life, that you are going to see that thing through and you're going to build it out, this stuff is coming. If you haven't overcome it already, it's coming. And some of the it's not a question of if, it's when. So let me see.
Hey,
Y'all know
Jess.
I got a bunch of show notes.
Jess, can I
And
add to that?
yeah, yeah, jump in here.
Yeah, one of my books I listen to at night that helps me to calm down, like just from the day. It talks and it's like God's voice speaking to you individually. And one of the things on lines that popped up as we were talking about this level of growth, the times of us wanting to be where we want to be, and then but the processing that has to happen. It's mentioned that sometimes the best growth, like in plants, happen in darkness, right? And it's the time where it's unseen. Like plants sometimes grow better in the dark than they do in the daylight. And we have to, for us, we do have to go through those levels of darkness for us to be able to grow to where we need to be at. And all of us have experienced a level of darkness in our journey since we've known each other in the last 3 years. Like some significant things have happened, and so I'm really recognizing to not battle it, to not try to run back to the light really quickly because it feels safe. Like, no, if we are believing we're in the hands of the Father, then we are in the best position, whether it's dark, whether it's light, whether it's rugged, whether it's smooth and easy at this time, because He is the Prince of Peace. Like even in the midst of the storm, even in the midst there, like He was already in a state of peace. And so as we're continuing this journey, we have to be reminded that we have the person that's always in a state of peace living inside of us. And so let us adopt that because we're able to face every situation and circumstance that we come across because He is here with us. So I had to just say that because it just really I had to write it down so I didn't forget it. But yeah, yeah.
That's really, really good. And yeah, that's big facts. Um And y'all know I pop in here and I will have a couple of points that I want to talk to y'all about, and reminders for things that I want you guys to make sure that you get out of the episode, to make sure that you get value. But like the it's everybody can't go convos for a reason. Y'all know I be in here learning right with y'all, okay? And sometimes even have to run back excuse me, run back my own episodes for stuff like what you just dropped, guy. That was good. And you know I'm gonna text you like, hey, send me the name of the book so I can go ahead and add it to yep. So I can add it to my Audible list. Um and this is like having people like you guys in my circle, in my midst, like it's important to um the growth and maintaining the growth. Because like well, one, we weren't created to do it all by ourselves and alone. And everybody can't be strong by themselves all the time. And sometimes it takes the people around you to pop in those reminders and to bring in those additional like gems, those additional pieces of wisdom, folks to be able to come in and give you guidance. Y'all know I tell y'all coaches need coaches. I ain't out here telling y'all like, yeah, you should do this with your life while I'm out here just uncoached. This is the company that I keep. This is who I make sure that I stay around so that I'm able to stay encouraged, so that I can make sure even when I'm not being encouraged, or well, not being encouraged, but when I don't feel encouraged, that I know that I have a soft place to land. I have folks that they like, okay, well, God said, and I'm like, oh, did he? Okay. And it's like you need to refer to, okay, that's the that's the thing. And so, like, there's a multitude of resources, and especially people resources. I will say that I definitely tap into on a regular basis, so that I mean, even for me, when things are not going the greatest, or when things are not, they're not necessarily going well, as I've talked to you guys about before, yeah, you get to see me for 1 hour per week. You get to see me for the 1 hour that I'm able to be put together. These are some of the people that in the background are helping me to work through some things so that I can actually, tell y'all what the lesson is, so that you guys are able to enjoy a podcast that does have gems in it, and it's not just a rant, because y'all know I will go on a tangent from time to time. But I mean, I'm like, why rant with no point? You know what I'm saying? Because that's why we're here, to make sure that you guys are able to grow. And look, Jessica don't hurt for free. So if I gotta hurt, one of y'all better cash in on what I done learned, okay? Because I don't need all the hard lessons for nothing. And I know Guy and Mel, they get an earful out of me all the time, and vice versa. They already know what to hit me up for, and I'm like, oh, it's the last minute, like right now. Hold on, hold. I will not hold my water, but I mean hold my beer, hold my water. I'll send that to you in 20 minutes, or what's the deadline? I got you. And so I really appreciate you sharing that, and like letting the people in on a bit of like what goes on in the personal and in the background. So I got another question for actually for both of you guys, since we have moved into like talking about the people that are around, and talking about like when you are in that dark space, that you like growth comes from that, if you so choose. And I always tell you guys, you get to choose when and that dark space. That's another one of those, it's not when I mean, it's not if, it's when. Like there are going to be those dark times, there are going to be those times that you do need to remember that you do have people who will support you, people who will help pick up some of the slack for you. And some of the, like, I mean, really, all plants have to grow in the dark at some point, because the seed is buried in dirt. And it's hard to remember that when you are in the midst of going through something or when things are dark for you. So like God, I really really appreciate you like bringing that out and shedding some light on it. And so, my next question for both of you guys, how do you know the difference between the people who are assigned to your future and the people who were only attached to your past as you've been experiencing, you know, your individual growth journeys and sometimes your collective growth journeys with others?
I'll answer first. To be honest with you, the people who are assigned for my future, I don't know that we can necessarily tell that because we're in the moment. The only person that we're going to hear that from is God Himself, because He already knows who He's sending into your life for how long. And then
Hmm.
in terms of the people who were only meant to be attached in your past, they're either already gone from your life or you now know that you're going to have to let them go or go low contact with them. At least that's been the experience in my life. Like the folks that were only there for a season, 9 times out of 10 they left. Like I'm somebody that's loyal by nature. shout out to shout out to my grounds crew. You know what I mean? Like we're loyal people by nature. We love the people who love us. You know what I mean? And when I say that, it's not from a place of shallowness. It's simply that we care. Like it is within our nature to care for people. So the majority of the folks who were attached to my past, they did leave. For the folks that I had to, I'm pointing to your sign right now, where I had to realize that everybody couldn't go, I
Hmm.
went low contact with them. Like when I expressed my boundary clearly with them and then went low contact. Yep.
And how about your experience, Guy?
Yeah. So I'm gonna do the low contact first because there is a level of I believe that there's a way to do it, right? There is a I've done it the unhealthy way. So I did it the unhealthy way because we were it was my first time in network marketing, right? Like really involved in a process of, you know what, it was like you're either for or against us, which I see that was a bad philosophy at that time. But it caused me to lose friendships. What I saw, it was really they were trying to apply the everybody can't go method philosophy, but it was done in an unhealthy way. I
Yeah.
like what Mel T, shared of, putting the boundaries on those conversations, putting the time that you've spent with those individuals in place, the conversations that you're having with them. And so for me, I grew into a level of having better discernment, right? It does come from God, but He helped me to understand that no, they're still people, they're still your family, they're still your friends, but you can't spend 12 hours with them because I need you here learning, growing, absorbing. Yes, it is different because you are the only one. You've always been the forerunner to go out into these spaces, and that's okay. It does feel uncomfortable, but I need you out here because I got to get something through you. And what was crazy because I was that forerunner and they weren't coming with me, I did feel alone, right? I was around a whole bunch of new people I didn't know, but he helped remind me that they needed to see you. They needed a belief model that it was okay to be out here, to step out that zone. And then that level of discernment helped me to see that these new people around me, here are the ones I need you to be attached with. And one of my stronger gifts is being able to identify uniqueness in individuals and then bring them together for a collective cause, right? For a collective focus, which helped me to hear when Mel T was talking inside the mastermind, which helped me to see Sean and and everybody that's on the Access Granted team to being able to come together to help us to deliver and to grow and to do the work that the vision that was put inside of me, the desire that's inside of me. And so again, first is discernment, and then two is learning to set those healthy boundaries. Exactly what Mel T said. Because again, um, even in this season, there were times where people were here for a short period of time, but then okay, it was cool. It was time for us to separate and part ways, which is also fine. And I think the other level for me personally, and I think we're both on the same wavelength because it is a level of loyalty as well, like that comes up because I am loyal as well as I am loyal, and that loyalty can sometimes stop us from wanting to set those new boundaries, even in a group that's there for that season. It may not be there forever, but in that particular time, they were important for their assignment. Um, the one story that's popping up in my brain, Judas was important for the assignment of Jesus, even though he knew my man was gonna he set me up the whole time from the very beginning. But it was critical for him to be there for that season. And then we know what for those that don't know, he ended up hanging himself after Jesus was hung. Um, but he was only there for the certain season, and the rest of the disciples were there to continue the work after him. And so it's again that God discernment to help us to understand the seasonality of all the individuals that are supposed to be in our circles, in our spaces for the future, for the present, and then for the past.
Come on. And see, this is part of the reason why I come to my own podcast with some guests because
Listen,
all of that you
listen,
just dropped, that is that really is facts, and that is part of, excuse me, what I speak to within, like, talking about the book, like the stories within the book and the lessons learned inside of here. One of the things about, and I'm still just not comfortable with how it blows my mind that we literally would not be saved if Judas wasn't Judasing.
facts.
He had to do what he had to do. Like, he literally had to. And I'm like, he's still that. Meh, 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 meh. But when you think about it, like in its totality, it literally had to happen for us. And it even though it happened to Jesus, he knew that it was going
Yeah,
to happen to him. And we always, well, people talked about Jesus, what make you think they ain't gonna talk about you? But I really do think about that when, people have to, when they gotta go. And that is part of what I wanted to make sure to put into the book itself, was talking about that it's not that it don't hurt when people have to go, but
yeah,
literally everybody can't go with you because everybody
yeah,
wasn't meant to go with you.
yeah,
And at certain places and spaces, like, you literally have to just accept, you know what, this version of me would not have been birthed without this person, without whoever the Judas is that comes into your life. Sometimes, like, Jesus reached destiny because Judas had to do what he had to do so that Jesus could reach destiny. It was
yeah,
all in divine order.
yeah,
And a lot of times, you know we like to only compare ourselves to biblical terms and only compare ourselves to Christ in the places where it's cute, in the places where it sounds good, the same way that we like to, talk about that growth mindset, but are you really doing it? The same way that we like to talk about, oh, well, these are the things that this can improve, this can improve this. Are you actually improving, or you just talking that talk because it sound good? And it really is, that goes back to, when you do have to let people go, and when it is time for that break, sometimes, and I tell y'all this all the time, it ain't always gonna be pretty. Sometimes it do, and it be a little bit of a mess. So, and I appreciate your
hmm,
transparency, guy, with talking about your experience with the unhealthy break and your growth over time. Because I mean, shoot, same with me. Y'all know in the book I talk about, like, the just the foolishness, the doxing, the, oh, I'm about to be an internet bully, and I'm like, I ain't never been Twitter fingers. You got my number. Do you want to meet up? Or at the time, like, it's not the healthiest way to handle the situation. But I'm like, if are we really gonna have a conversation? Are we actually gonna talk? Or, are we gonna play fake internet gangster? Like, what are we doing? And there are lessons that I got from that, and lessons that it actually equipped me to be able to help other people. And one of the things that really made me look at it at the time and say to myself, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do the thing, and I'm going to write the book. During my time as a teacher, all of the internet stuff, it didn't really bother me. It was just kind of like, y'all still trying to like get at me on the internet, and like you can find me and see me in real life, but you won't. And I was just like, we came up in an era before like social media and the internet was a thing. So I'm
Right.
like, you do know, like that's like pretend La La Land. It's a highlights of people's lives. You don't get to watch people 24/7 or during all of their waking hours. You just see glimpses and a piece of a person online. But as I sat looking at some negative posts and some comments, and I chuckled to myself at my desk, I looked up at my students and thought about some of the gossip that would happen in the classroom, and how for these kids at that time, something that to me I was finding comical because it was that immature. I was like, dang, if this was one of my young men, if this was one of my young ladies, this could be the difference between, you know what, I'm ready for everything to be over or not. The frontal cortex is not fully developed. And by the way, these are my high schoolers that I was teaching. I had 10th graders and 12th graders.
Mhm.
So you're talking about a generation that they grew up with social media, that those relationships and that type of social media access, it means the world to them at that
Mhm.
age. And I'm
Mhm.
like, dang, I'm able to look at this and not take it seriously. But if this was one of my kids in the classroom, this could be something that would literally destroy them or cause them to make decisions that could destroy the rest of their lives. And so I was like, you know what? Even though it was painful to lose the friendships, it was somewhat of an annoyance and then somewhat amusement to me. The doxing and the online bullying that happened afterwards, and some of the back end phone calls to other people behind such and such as back, and oh, well, Jessica did this, Jessica did that, and people like, hey, so yeah, they said that you said, and I remember we already talked about it, so I told them to get off my phone with the foolishness because you said it to my face, and I'm like, yeah, fact check it. When do I not tell any of y'all something to y'all face? Now I did from that learn to definitely continue to grow my emotional intelligence, so that when what I have to say, I need to take my pilot hat off and put it down to the side, so that I can bring my little 10 GC, and I'm gonna show up with my quiet voice and a box of tissues and what you need at the time, so that Jessica can still give the Jessica advice, but sometimes
Yeah.
it needs to be a little bit softer. It needs to be making it needs to give you that Jamaican chocolate tea feeling. Shout out to Mama Rosalie, okay? It needs to give you that
Hey.
feeling when you're getting it, depending on the state that you're in. And so I would definitely encourage you guys to get your copy of the book. Make sure to head over and get your copy. And oh, while I'm talking about that, let me actually, because I see some orders have started to roll in. So for those of you guys that have tapped in on the live, jumped in, major order. Of course, shout out to Mel T. She been had hers, okay? Mel was actually the first person to read it. All right. So shout out to Mel T. Because one thing she gonna do, she gonna get that book, okay? She had hers before I had mine, all right, y'all. So I'm
Yes.
seeing shout out to Terrence, shout out to JR, and shout out to Christine so far. I know there's a little bit of a time lag with clicking through and doing the thing, but shout out to you guys so far who have ordered your copy at the link. And you know what? Y'all know how I like to be in the spirit of doing the other special announcements and different things. Y'all, we got merch. I know a handful of you guys have been asking me, like, hey, can I get the Everybody Can't Go tea? Like, where can I order that at? Like, oh, where can I cop the head over to www.everybodycg.com. You'll see in that upper right hand corner shop. And we do have gentlemen's colors as well. So you have options with red, gray, and pink. Because I know some of y'all, I know some of my guys, y'all would be like, yeah, no, this just brand. Like I'll rock the pink. Like I'm pretty sure every guy that I know at one point or another has rocked some pink for me. Because y'all know that's my favorite color. Y'all know that's the brand. Y'all know, shout out to my sorors. Like at some point in life, y'all, if you rock with me, something about some pink somewhere, and it's like, girl. And I'm like, yes, and thank
Hey,
you.
hey, Jess, how can we order the ebook from the website?
Oh yeah, no, don't get the ebook right now. The
Okay,
author woes, because I don't
okay,
like the way
okay,
that the ebook showed up. And so
okay,
in all transparency, I don't want you to cop the ebook. I want you to get your hard copy. And
okay,
actually, if you want an ebook copy, put through your order for the hard copy, and I will personally send you directly a free copy of the ebook version, because I want it to be perfect. And when I went through, I didn't like the way that it showed up on my iPad. I didn't like the way that it looked. So I want that to be fixed before I
okay.
send you guys the ebook copy, especially if you are paying for a product. I need the product to be perfect when you get it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Understood.
yeah, for those of
Understood.
you who are fans of ebooks, order your hard copy and send me a DM so that I can send you the ebook for free directly.
Got it. Got it. Got it. I want to go back to something that was mentioned. So first it was everyday, always Saj. If
Mhm.
I, forgive me if I pronounced that wrong. Everyone has their part to play. I was thinking about, some of the things that I do now really, really well, but it came from some of those relationships that I had as a child, or as a teen. And one of those in particular were my boys. They were always at our house, pretty much almost every weekend from like 10th grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, and then we went to college together too. But one of the things that all of us did was we debated against each other. Like it could be a TV show, it could be a video game, but it made us, in those conversations, they made me learn how to bring factual information to the conversation to prove the point, not just what was subjective and how we felt about it. And how I was just journaling this the other day, like how that translated to now. When you're writing a grant, that's what you're doing. You're bringing justification to why people should give you funding, right? You're not just saying, "Oh, because we're doing great work." Like, no, because we are doing X, Y, and Z. This is how we line up because we do X, Y, and Z, and this is how you position it. And I was just like, "Yo, that happened because of those relationships, because of those people that were placed in my life at that time to help me to learn how to communicate in person, but then also take translate that into written form, as part of the strategy, as what I do now professionally and what I had to do when I was running the youth development program. In the last portion, I'll say it's never, when you're talking about a sad moment, I started laughing. So I wanted to address what happened. Like in our time, we had the, passing notes. I don't know if y'all had the little notebook pieces where it moved from a single notes but to a whole notebook. You fold the page in half. And so I wrote down, it was a young lady I was dating in middle school, and my note was shared publicly amongst the school, amongst our small eighth grade class, and it was a song I remixed "Genuine So Anxious" to fit like what we were now. And so I was put on blast. Um, but like you said, it made me change up to how I did things and to how I approached relationships, because I didn't have a person being able to communicate. So one thing I'm excited about is, one, being able to understand the stories better so I can communicate with my kids about forming strong identity in who you are. So that way, when you are faced with these challenges, let's pull from the strength of it, but then let's throw away the negative so that way it doesn't make you collapse as an individual, doesn't make you stray away from the foundations that we're setting for you. But like again, when the reason you can laugh because you have a strong identity, right? And I know from my time in youth development, that's one of the challenges of our youth. They don't have a sense of identity of who they are yet. And then it's important for us as parents and other mentors or teachers to help those young people to form the identity. And even for us now as adults, it's important for us to work together to help each other to form or to get to know what is our true identity. Who did God make us to be? And then empowers us to go out and write the book, to create the podcast, to create the content. And where I had to go through too is like, no, okay, you know what? They're gonna laugh at me. They're gonna say something's wrong. It's everybody doesn't like chocolate chip cookies. My dad likes oatmeal raisin. He will not, he will get oatmeal raisin every single day versus chocolate chip cookies. And that's cool. I'm not meant for everybody, but we're gonna be meant for the people that we need to share our messages with. So
And that's real, because don't give me no dang on cookies with no raisins in them. Yeah. Oh, I'll be so upset. Oh, I'll be so upset, especially when it's the fat oatmeal cookies and they are thick and you can't really see it. And then I'll bite it and I'm like, who's trying to poison me? I just, that's facts. And and you know what? That's actually like one of those that it's a simplified analogy of uh, like we easily accept it when it's as simple as I don't like the oatmeal raisin cookies, I prefer the chocolate chip. And when I talk to you guys about everybody not being able to go with you to your next level, to your next chapter in life, like sometimes it really is that simple. And just because it's that simple doesn't make it easy. That doesn't mean that there aren't emotions that are attached to it or that follow it. But sometimes that's what's necessary. Like sometimes you're no longer someone's preference. You're no longer the person fit for the job. Sometimes you're no longer the person who is the best fit to get the best outcome. And like sometimes you have to come to a level of acceptance that that's what it is. um what is her name? Oh, Tim's. Y'all know usually I don't be doing a free promo, but she was singing about some stuff. And lately everybody has been on that song, I'm Not What You Need. And I'm like, you know what? Come on with some everybody can't go philosophy, because at the end of the day, like in that space, like yeah, that is facts. Like sometimes you're not the person, you're not the person anymore, and or the same way that we have to accept that sometimes we will be left behind by others or we need to step away from others. That's something that we have to decide when we need to step away, when we're doing more harm than good. And um there are other times where we have to kindly ask people to, please move along, because you tearing my stuff up. You like, I'm building with one hand, you tearing down with the other. Like what, like, what are we doing here? And a lot of times when you're speaking about friendships or familial ties, it's harder to have that conversation um when there's no money involved. That's It's a easier boundary to go ahead and set when you're talking about within your business. You building with one hand, somebody tearing down your business with the other one. You like, hey, you messing up the stuff. So you gotta I ain't got time. You gotta go, because you messing up the rotation. And sometimes we need to keep that same level of tenacity and that same level of accountability when it comes to setting those boundaries um with our personal relationships, with our friendships, and like, let me go all the way there, setting those boundaries with family, because that's where it's the hardest. Because I mean, everybody can't go. You can tell them used to be friends, okay, beat it, skedaddle. But your family is always going to be there in one way or another. Not to say that you can't go contact and no contact with them too, but I mean, if it's required. Um, Honestly, anybody can get it. But there are conversations and attempts that you should be making before it comes to that. Not so that you can like be the better person or anything like that, but just so that you're operating in knowing that you have fully tried, made attempts, and exhausted every healthy option for you to be able to work through that work through the issues and everything, and so that you aren't doing additional damage. Just because somebody is being damaging to you, it doesn't mean that you have to do damage to them. And y'all know, when I be talking to y'all and I'm talking to myself, I will raise my hand when I too am still working on it. Okay. Because I want to make sure that I'm showing up as a person, that I'm showing up as being authentic and human. I don't have it all together. I'm not perfect. And neither do my counterparts that are on the live with me today. There are all areas where it's like, hey, okay, let me just be quiet, because if I don't, I know that there's a better way to handle this, but I need to take the time so that I can handle it better. And I encourage all of you guys to do the same. Sometimes you may have to go no contact for a certain amount of time, and you may need to take a step back and go into isolation, um and I'm talking about healthy isolation, not going into isolation to hide. When you're going into isolation to hide, yes, they do need to be coming to get you, and no, you're not gonna like it. But people who love and care about you truly, they aren't going to just let you sit there in it knowing that you're hurting and alone, and you should not be. um the Sometimes you do have to choose to go into isolation with the proper mindset, so that you can, and I'm gonna put it on the screen again, so that you can protect your peace, so that you can come back to yourself and come back to a place of peace when there is a lot of chaos, turmoil, and different things that are going on in life. um and even when you are choosing to take that time in isolation, still beware of positive times of isolation becoming negative because you stayed in isolation for too long. And still pay attention to, and each time, even though they might be getting on your nerves when they come in to check yourself. Make sure that you actually take at least 60 seconds to really think about it. Matter of fact, bump to 60 seconds. At least take 2 minutes to think about it. You know what? Am I now using the isolation as a coping mechanism because I don't want to be by everybody? Or are you in isolation because it's work time, because it's grinding season, because it's time for you to be getting your life reset, or because it's time for you to rest? So all of those are things to think about. And also, all things that get talked about in the book in more detail. So by all means, when I was growing up, we wasn't allowed to fold down pages. We wasn't allowed to write in books. You you get your butt whooped with a book for writing in it. But I encourage you guys to, when you get the book, go through here and highlight. I actually got that from my best friend. A shout out to her. Talking about Like she actually goes through self-help books and she's like, oh yeah, I highlight the parts that I need to go back to. And I'm still kind of getting used to it. I have folks, some of my church folks that actually highlight different scriptures as well. And so if that's not you, or if you grew up like me, that's something that it is a positive change that you can implement when you are really looking at growth. You're really looking at while you are going through this information and studying to show yourself approved and studying through it. Yep. You see, God just took out one of the books that he's going through where he went ahead and did his highlights in there. And I see some of you guys in the comments, some of y'all are like me, that it's like, oh shoot, writing in the book. But I would definitely encourage you to my book is one of those where like yeah, highlight up in there. Highlight up in there. And on some of the pages where I made sure that when I needed your attention and it's a big call out, there's also space in there with the big call out. Take some notes on there. Take some notes on there. And you know, some of the quotes and things that I included, go look up the music. Go look up the clips. Go actually listen to the lyrics for like additional teaching and additional like food for thought. Um and yes, use the book. Use the book. Um it is very easy to just have the book as a thing, read it, keep it in pristine condition. I'm really good for that. Like a lot of my books are yeah, like I'm like, no, I take care of my things. So like people will look at my bookshelf, they're like, did you even read this? And I'm like, oh yeah, I read that like 3 times already. And it's like, why does it look so perfect? And I'm like, why would you harm a book? So that's one of the things I will tell y'all. That needs to be one of y'all takeaways from this episode. Right in the book, right in there. Okay. Don't just keep it as a decoration or read through it and not refer back to it so that you can use the information for true transformation in your life, because I don't want you to just learn the language and talk the talk. Like I want you to actually get the tangible results in your life the same way that I have, the same way Mel has, the same way that Guy has. And it's not a super quick, like this wasn't a overnight joint. Um, this wasn't overnight success. So as always, I've never promised you guys that, and I'm gonna continue to not promise you that because I don't want you to come back and be like, well, Jess, you said that all I had to do was, yeah, that is all you got to do, but it ain't simple, not easy, and it doesn't it doesn't come quick, but you can still get to that 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 space and that place where you will be able to reap the benefits of the work that you put in as long as you actually get started and put that work in. Put in that work on yourself, put in that work on your relationships. Make sure that you are paying attention to the transformation that you would like to see within yourself, because without your own commitment to that process, is, I mean, eh, it's just it's simply not gonna happen. It's not if you don't do it for you. So yeah. Let's see. I made sure that you guys knew. Oh, okay. One more announcement for today. You guys also, let me see, let me do a refresh here. See who else ordered a book. Of course, okay. I'm gonna let it do its thing while it's loading over there. um for you guys that have been enjoying the pod and the two voices that have been on here with me today. And I shout out to all of you guys in the comments. Hey y'all, love you all so much. And thank you for coming on and chatting with us and interacting with us in the chat. um And thank you guys for the orders that are coming through. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Tanya. Shout out to, hold on, what is this other one? Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to all of you guys who have continued to order while we've been on. I will pop that back up on the screen for you. You can order your copy of Everybody Can't Go at www.everybodycan'tgo, the number 2.com. And shout out to all of you guys that have been ordering while we were on live. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. Um, and if you've been enjoying the pods, even if you are like a recent or a new joinee, I have created an exclusive subscription where if you are an audio listener, usually, or if you would like to take advantage of some of the extras that come with listening to Everybody Can't Go in the audio format, we do have available extended interviews, bonus episodes, some private reflections where we get a little deeper. We have some of those after dark conversations where we really get into the nitty gritty and go beyond not just teaching, but like, no, let's go ahead and tell the truth. And sometimes that truth, it might hurt people's feelings a little bit. And you also have early access to workshops, merch, live events, subscriber only giveaways, subscriber only promo deals for some of the other folks that I work with, and some of the activities and communities that you have access to. And we do have live Q&A opportunities as well. So you can find that over at our Buzzsprout channel. You can subscribe there for just $10 a month. You have access to all of those things. So today, you just got a smorgasbord of look, here go all of these drops, the book drop, the merch drop, the exclusive subscription drops, everything done dropped. I'm like, yeah, make it all available. Boom, do all of it at the same time. And let me drop the link for you guys for that subscription if you want to be a part of the Buzzsprout community. And okay, so it's some people that are listening. That is so long. That is so long, you guys. And you
Tomorrow
can't
we're
even click
shorter.
it. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll make sure that that's available on the Everybody Can't Go page
Yeah,
for you,
yeah,
and
no.
so that
Put
you
that
can
back up so
click
they can
there.
get their
It's
phone
it's
out
a
and take a
little bit
picture.
buried on the website.
Hey, put
What'd you
that
say?
back up there. So take out your phone, take a picture of
People can
that, so
take a
that way you just
screenshot.
click on the link. Yeah, in your photos app. Yeah, screenshot it wherever you might be at. But that junk is long though.
It is. It is. And I know Mel gonna be like, I sent you the link for a shortener. And I was like, but it's just a bunch of letters. My bad, y'all. I mean, I at least I could have put a QR code on the screen, right? That was my bad. I just got so excited, like, ooh, I could give them this, they could do this, they could do this, they could do this. Like, look, I done created a little mini mall for y'all. All right. Where I'm like, whatever is your cup of tea. Whatever is your cup of tea, all of the stuff is available. All the things, all the things. Okay, and I got a couple of notifications that popped up. Um, it looks like some of you guys might have already known how to get over there quicker, but shout out to subscriber Calum that just dropped in. Okay, shout out to you. And we'll see if anybody else joins while we're on the live. Let me see. I did have one more question for you guys today within my notes here. What was the other thing that I wanted to ask y'all? Ah, yes. Some nice parting words, as if we have not dropped enough gems already. And shout out to Javon as a subscriber. Shout out to Javon.
Another Holly. Let's go.
Holly's in the building, okay?
For sure.
So for you guys, if someone is watching tonight, and of all the gems that you guys have dropped while we've been on this evening, If someone watching tonight is afraid to outgrow their current circle, what advice would you give them?
I would say one, have a who. I always say that for those who rock with me on my pod. Have at least one person that is a safe space for you, that you can have that soft landing after you part ways with somebody you got to draw a boundary with, because there will be a vulnerability hangover. You're going to feel it. One of the points I wanted to add while you were talking about Jesus and Judas, even in the Bible, we saw Jesus, who's 100% man, 100% God. That manhood showed up. He was like, "Do I not know that one of you is a devil?" Like from the moment he met Judas, he knew. You know what I mean? And it was top of mind for him. Like even though he knew the betrayal was coming, it still bothered him. You know what I mean? So it's important to have a who to be able to fall back on, because in his darkest moment, yeah, them three fell asleep, but he had Peter, James, and John.
Hmm.
They were exhausted, and really the more factual account is they were more catatonic than sleepy. Like it was just a high stress situation. They were exhausted by then, but just at least had them to go to the garden with and be like, y'all sit right there, I'm just gonna go a little deeper in the garden over here. So at least have a who to be able to have your hangover with. The next thing I would say is, to your point, Jessica, about isolation, be sure that while you're in the isolation, you're developing yourself. What I ended up doing, I shared this, I think, on my very first interview with you on your pod, which was that first month when I moved up to Atlanta, the entire first month was rest. I barely talked with anybody in terms of like frequent phone calls, like social calls, checked in with the family on a daily basis, but socially went nowhere. Like it was me, that sleep. And then I started searching YouTube for podcasts that would feed my mind. So I started listening to Anthony O'Neill. That's financial stuff. I started listening to the Secret to Success podcast more frequently. You know what I mean? Like getting that deep work. And then, discovering other podcasts that fed my soul too, like Ed Milet and people like that. But make sure while you're in your isolation, you're not only decompressing, but also feeding yourself too. Not only putting stuff out, whether on paper, whether to your who, but make sure you're also receiving stuff that's going to feed you too, for sure.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And to your point, I low key look, next week's podcast episode is actually gonna be about that. Because who coming with you to the garden? I'm gonna have to dig into that.
That
All
part.
right. Because that's real. That's real. Um and when you are looking for I like that you brought up a a smorgasbord of different positive things to listen to and to feed your mind. If this is the only podcast that you tune into so that you can get positivity, so that you can get some growth, so that you can get tips and be fed, I would encourage you, find one or two other podcasts that will put you in that positive mind frame. It doesn't have to be a long one. There are like Bible study ones, or find a YouTube channel or something like that, or I mean, if you want to just binge all of my content, okay, sure. Yes, shout out to you. I would love it if you do that. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. But when you're looking at the who's in your ear, and what are you being fed with, make sure that you have some positive voices and folks that you are listening to while you're in isolation, so that that's a part of that you get to choose, making sure that you're not just in there doing, just in there doing the whatever. Even though you do need to have that quiet time to rest, when you are doing aimless activities, make sure that it's something aimless but restful. Scrolling, sometimes it ain't restful to the mind. You might need to color. You might need to put together a somewhat simple puzzle. Um Do a word search, a Sudoku, do something. But make sure that when you are tapping in, that you are tapping in with positive voices and positive things, because it's very easy when you're in isolation, especially when you need that time, you need that rest, you need that reset, to begin spiraling out of control and deeper into a space that you don't want to be in. And Guy, I'm gonna kick it over to you
Mhm.
to get your input on that last question. If someone watching tonight is afraid to outgrow their current circle, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to two things I've already mentioned and package it up as a closing point. I mentioned identity, and both Melissa and I mentioned desire, right? There's a new identity that you are desiring to grow into that's causing you to leave that current circle. And because that desire is coming from God and is birth within, it's going to be okay. And how I know it's going to be okay, because it talks about in Philippians 4, 12 through 13, and this is where Paul, we always hear verse 13 said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But leading up to that, Paul says, I have grown to know how to get along in difficult times and in times of abundance and prosperity. So yes, that current circle, it is abundance and prosperity, like, because you got everybody around you, but stepping out into that new space where you don't see anyone around you, it can feel like lack. But in reality, we're learning to get access or gain access to a new level of abundance, because Paul further goes down and says that his self sufficiency comes in Christ's sufficiency. And so when as Melissa T mentioned, that Jesus walked deeper into the forest alone, yeah, he spent more time with God, able to get the power to go through and to go ahead towards the cross where he knew it was going to be a difficult time for where his identity was taking him to. So for those that are struggling, yes, we're not sugarcoating that it might be challenging. You are walking into a time that appears to be lacking, but it is setting you up for a new level of growth and abundance and people to help carry you to your next destination. But it is you that's being shifted and shaped for the next season. So again, that was Philippians 4, 12, and then 13, where Paul talks about, yes, they were trying to send provisions to him, but he was already sufficient in a because he learned how to be that in a time of lack and in a time of abundance. Sometimes we apply that to finances, but it also relates to a time of when we don't have all the people around us that we're used to, when we have to be solo, when everybody can't go with us, but we also get the abundance from him who's living within inside of us. So again, your identity is pushing you to a new desire that's inside of you so that you can grow. And then also you might have to leave some people, and that's okay, because your power, when you have, I'm learning, it's not easy, but I'm learning that when you have Christ, you do have everything, because he never changes. He never fades. He's everything for every circumstance and situation in every single moment. The team knows on Monday I was just down, like I was down, but now I'm up, like the song says, right? But it was because I sought His word and I found comfort in his word. When, yes, their words were good, I love them to life, but I had to find it even greater, because God could speak to the deeper things that were inside my heart, the questions that were going on. And so that's what I'll leave with that.
All right, so boom. I don't gotta get y'all a closing because cousin got he done dropped the mic right behind Mel. So thank you guys for jumping in here. I'm gonna do one more refresh. Shout out to Chelsea for ordering her copy of Everybody Can Go on the live. Um and shout out to the replay squad. Um, The links will be in the show notes for you guys below. Thank those of you who have joined on with us and interacted with us during this evening on the live. And again, shout out to the folks that are on the replay. Make sure that you share this episode with someone that you know that it can help them, it can impact them. Go ahead, hit like, subscribe, and drop some comments below. Let us know what you think. And click that link so that you can make sure that you cop your copy of Everybody Can't Go, the book that has become the brand, this podcast, and now a movement. And any of the links that you need that will be below for your merch, the podcast subscription, and all of the things. Thank both of you guys for popping in with me this evening and for staying on for the full hour. I really appreciate both of you. You know this from the very bottom of my heart. And thank all of you guys for tuning in because without you, I would just be here talking to myself. So, thank all of the listeners for you guys tuning in, for your downloads, your subscriptions, and your likes, and all of your support. And I will see you guys next week. We gonna dig into who coming with you to the garden. So yeah, I'm gonna see who want to get in on that convo next week because yeah, we might run back a nice little round robin on that one. And so yeah, I'll see you guys next week for another Everybody Can't Go convo.
All right.
Bye.
Peace.